Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the fourth IFED Night Talk. My name is Andrea Ricci from Florence, but tonight I'm known as Andrea King, as you can see from the bells. The purpose of these interviews is to find out what's behind a great professional that is well known in the world stage, giving courses, congresses, and meetings. Tonight, we have the honor to host Professor Irena Sailer from Geneva and Dr. Galip Gurel from Istanbul. For sure, they do not need any further introduction. And let's go immediately to the first questions. Irena, what is your story? How did you end up doing what you're doing now?
Hi, Andrea. Great to be here with you. And together with Galip, I think this will be a great talk show. I'm all excited. Well, how did I end up being what I am? It has been a long way to come here, to get here. It started me growing up in a family which was a very Balkan, Yugoslav family. You know, I learned German in kindergarten, and then I grew up in a medical environment and a musical environment because my parents are musician and physician. So a good combination of both. And in the end, I loved the creative part, and I also loved the medical part of dentistry. I ended up studying dentistry in Germany, and then finally was somehow tempted to go to Switzerland to go more into this creative part of dentistry, and joined Peter Scherer's group in Zurich, and then started specializing in prosthodontics. And in principle, this is how it came. But to be quite honest, it was specifically my father who recommended me to do dentistry, because he said, you know, if you want to do medicine, medicine is very tough for a woman. Dentistry is much nicer. You can work part-time, you can combine it with your family. So this is much better for you. And in the end, I ended up doing dentistry. I would say maybe the toughest way you can do dentistry as a female. So his dream did not come true, but mine did.
I'm sure you're not working part-time. I can bet on it. And what about you, Galip?
Well, Andrea, I'm coming from a family which both my parents used to be dentists. And if you can imagine, I had to make my decision to go to the university in early 70s. That time we had no internet, nothing that would join you into the world of differentiations. So the general pattern was to follow the jobs that your family was going. So this is how I continued and get into the dental school. And then, just like Irena, I was not a super student in the university. I enjoyed things outside of the university, and I was doing sports anyway. But then when I graduated and went to the States, came back and started working on my private practice, then things started being different. And that moved me to a more creative phase than just being a dentist.
I see. Very interesting. Irena, among the activities that you enjoyed the most that you mentioned, what did you have to stop doing in order to obtain your impressive results? In other words, what was the price in your personal life to achieve your results?
Well, I have to admit, and Galip already pointed it out a little bit, I love life. I love going out. I love partying. I love working in bars. I love being surrounded by lots of people. I'm very much a night person. I'm not very much a morning person. And this is all a little bit different than the life that I live in now, because I have to get up early. University activities are more, I would say, intense in the mornings, in the afternoons. In the evenings, you have some things to work on for the university. So somehow the time that I have to spend, you know, the way that I always love to spend it has become very limited. So from time to time, I really love to go and party.
Good. And what about you, Galip? I know that you had an intense life prior dentistry.
Yeah, besides that, during that time when I studied and then graduated and started my private practice, I was still playing water polo, being the captain of our national team, which has a great responsibility. But when things start getting more and more crowded in my private practice, at the age of 28, which was very, very young to give up that sport, I had to make a decision whether to move on with my sports career or dental career. So I guess this was one of the things I would say I have to sacrifice, but like I enjoyed it so much while doing it. So I didn't miss much after giving it up. But this was one of the things that I need to make a choice. And I chose being in my private practice.
And Galip, since you mentioned this, I know that you have more than 100 records as swimmer. You have been for 11 years captain of the national water polo team, and you did the famous Camel Trophy rally. What did you learn by achieving these results in sport that helped you in your professional, but mainly in your personal life?
Well, definitely. I mean, I've been through so many different stages of sports life. For example, I started as a swimmer. And as you mentioned, I held many, many Turkish records. But in that part of my sports life, I was alone. So the biggest challenge in swimming was yourself. So kind of boring maybe. And if I wouldn't have the carrot of making new records and this kind of stuff, I think I would have given it up very fast. But then when I switched into water polo, this was a complete different ball game because it's a team sport. And in my young age, being the captain of the national team taught me many, many things. And I had a story actually. During my university years, I went to the States for a summer camp. And I was in the University of Berkeley, close to the University of Berkeley, let's say. So I just went to their trainings and asked if I can join them. And they said, okay. And after the second training, they said, wow, what's going on? And they had the national championships. So just before the tournament start, the coach said, we have to decide on the team captain. And there was this guy who had been in the team since his college years. And I was there for, since, I don't know, a couple of weeks. And I had no intention of doing that. But then he asked us to write a text about our understanding from sports. And then he said, bring it to the training the next day. So, and as I was driving there, I already forgot about what he asked for. So I had to write something. I wrote a sentence. And then the other guy came with like 2 pages of what he understood. And I had this small page and I gave it to him. And after the practice, he said, we'll play the tournament, Galip being the captain. Because what I have written there was this amateur team sports is a very innocent copy of real life. So, I mean, you train all year long, the referee blows a wrong whistle and then you lose the game. Someone is closer to the trainer, so the guys who deserve to play cannot, while the others get in. So you learn enjoying winning, not in a flamboyant way, and you also learn how to lose. And those things mature you way early than your professional life. And this was the second phase. And then came the Camel Trophy Paris-Dakar races. It was pure survival. You have to be mentally, physically, and all around strong to do that. So with that combination, you learn how to work with a team, how to be a team member, how to lead the team. So these are the things really that guided me in a very natural way to being where I am now, managing my team, working with my team. So these are the great positive things that I learned from my sports background.
Very interesting, Galip. Irena, well, is it true that you are Wonder Woman? Where are you holding your superhero dress?
It's a
I
secret
mean,
rest. I only take it out when I need it.
yeah, I mean, jokes apart, as far as I know, it's not very common to have a woman achieving the results that you achieved. And with all the due respect to Galip, it is a challenge also comparing the Camel Trophy. I mean, did you have difficulties? Did you have advantages? How did you make it?
That's a very common question, and I'm not very much into gender discrimination. So why should a woman perform differently than a man in principle? And why do we need all this gender support? It's maybe because a lot of the attitude is towards women that they don't perform the same way as men, that they cannot perform the same way as men. And I don't know. I have the feeling that for me, it was always most important to give my personal best. So if I love doing something, I do it really, really wholeheartedly. And then I don't compare myself so much to a man as a man. I compare myself to a colleague, as a professional colleague, to the level of others, but not to the gender. So I think that it was never a topic that really, really bothered me a lot. But I have to say, within the university environment, and the higher you get in positions, the lonelier you get as a woman, definitely. And then it gets, on the one hand, it's nice because if you're one of the few women, you get a lot of the support. But on the other hand, you don't want to be supported because you're a woman. You want to be supported because you're as good as the rest, So in the end, it's really, I would say, for me, something where I would always recommend all my female colleagues to just stay the way they are, not to be super female, not to be super male, but just the way they are, to give their personal best. And for this, you have to invest a lot of time, and I'm investing a lot of time in what I do. I don't have much time for a lot of hobbies. I love photography, for example. I was doing this very passionately in the past. I don't have that much time for this anymore. But on the other hand, I love spending the time with what I do. So it's not a painful sacrifice to be really focusing on the profession. And I think if you do, even as a woman in today's times where the positions are more male-oriented, it's no problem to get where I am. But it's a matter of personal sacrifice. And this is also the same for men. They also have to work a lot. They also have to invest all their time. They have the advantage that the woman can take care of the children at home, which is a little bit maybe one of the sacrifices that I took. To combine this profession and this career with children would have been very difficult.
I see. And Galip, what is the most important feature that a successful person have, not a dentist, a person?
I think you have to be humble. You have to be down to earth. You have to enjoy what you're doing. And you have to be really thankful to everything that universe is giving to you. So once you have all those things, you become a calm person. You make decisions solidly, and you enjoy helping people. So these are the basic things that a person has to have: to be true, not to cheat, not to gossip, not to make things behind people's back. So these are simple, straightforward rules that makes you happy. And if you're happy, then that means the life is treating you well.
And what do you think about this, Irena? Do you want to add something?
No, I very much agree with Galip's very philosophical way of thinking today. But it's definitely what it is. If you're happy and if you're sort of satisfied with your life, then you treat people better around you, and then you make people happy around you. And I think this is what life is all about, I have to say. Because all the success in the world means nothing if you don't have friends or family to share it with, and if not, you and your surrounding feel very happy being where you are. And yeah. for us, we come from the South. For us, family is very important, and to have a very happy family around you and also to have close friends around you is so much more important than anything else, that in the end, all the success is depending on this.
Good. Thank you. And Galip, what do you think about the comfort zone? Is it an advantage to be able to resist in the comfort zone, or is it a limitation?
I've always pushed myself out of my comfort zone. So without doing that, really, it's me personally. Some people love staying in their comfort zone, and some people want to push the boundaries. So many of the extreme sports, let's say talking about sports, was out of my comfort zone. So I made free fall jumping from a plane. So if you think about it, it's something crazy, it seems. I did barefoot skiing. So those things are not in your comfort zone. Things alike happens in your life. And also in dentistry, if you want to push the boundaries, and this is the way I enjoy being alive. So this rule applied the same in my professional life. But pushing the comfort zone should also have some limits, that you shouldn't neglect the time that you should spend with your friends, with your families, with your beloved ones, and do the things you want to do besides being locked into a target.
And Irena, how important do you think is to be able to change? Meaning, many people say, why should I change my protocol that worked for so many years? Why should I change material, or why should I change whatever, also in the personal life? Is this, being stuck in the habits, is it a limitation, or it is an advantage because helps improving, I would say?
Well, to be stuck in your daily habits, I would say, is something that makes you feel comfortable because there is no risk. You feel safe and secure. But I personally always feel this as a huge limitation. I get bored. The moment when I know how things work and when I really mastered something, it gets routine, and then routine, I find myself quite boring, honestly. So I'm also a little bit like Galip. I always like to step out this comfort zone and push for the next limit, and then go for the next challenge. And I'm not very scared of changes, I have to say. And it's not always easy. However, I have to say, even if you go within one country, I left from the Swiss-German part in Switzerland to the French-speaking part, I really had to learn French. I had to learn dentistry in French. It is a huge challenge for 1 to 3 years, but then afterwards, it feels really like something much more rich than it was before, and something that, in a way, an experience that nobody can take away from you, that gives you a bigger, open, more wide horizon, to judge things, to enjoy life, to meet people, to learn about people. Like when I learned French, I had all these fronts opening up to me, and I could really talk to the people in French, and they would open up totally differently to me, like as being one of them. And this is beautiful.
Yeah, that is an amazing feature. To be able to speak someone else's language, helps meeting and connecting a lot. But can we say, Galip and Irena, that your results wouldn't be possible without this tendency to change? Can we say this?
Definitely. It's a very common saying, the only thing that doesn't change is change. So it's natural, it's nature. So it's something you have to do, but not every change is the right change. So you have to decide on which way to change, hopefully in a positive way. And some changes may end up with some failing results, and that's okay. You also have to exercise that. as long as you learn from them, it's a great, great treasure, making mistakes. So if you are open to change, then you have to open yourself to success and failures together, and hopefully make more success parts than failures. But it happens. I mean, if you have that attitude, I think this is usually how it ends up with.
Yeah.
In principle, Galip, you can always take the best out of every decision, even if it's maybe not an ideal decision in the first place. It can open up a totally different pathway in your life, which ends up maybe being much better than you ever thought. I personally, I love change. Change is learning. Without change, you don't learn. If you do the same thing over and over again the rest of your life, you just don't learn anything anymore.
No, really, I mean, just like you said, things you master, let's say, or you repeatedly do, even if it's in the top level, it becomes boring, repeating those things.
Yes.
So change is inevitable if you want to enjoy what you're doing and your life. That's simple.
Yeah. And Galip, did you have to change something in your personal attitude in the last years?
Well, I've always been the same. I've always been humble and modest, I would say, from my perspective. I don't know what people think about me. I think I become more forgiving, I can say. The best thing is, like, I learned how to say no more easily. So
can you teach us? Can you teach me actually how to do that?
Yes, me too, please.
It takes some aging experience. And one of the things that COVID taught us is to be aware of how important it is to spend more time for yourself. When I'm saying for yourself, is like with you, your family, with your friends. So I was lucky to run all this period in Bodrum, in our summer house, which we spent all the time outdoors. But it taught us how to appreciate the free time that we can actually create. We closed our office twice, more than 3 months each. And I must say that I had the best times of my life during that period. So, I mean, otherwise you're in a rush, running after things, thinking that if you don't do it, you'll miss something. It doesn't work like this. I mean, the more simpler you live, the more happier you are. So this is what I learned in the past few years, I would say.
That is it's a great message, Galip. Thank you. And what do you think about it? Do you have another opinion or the same opinion, Irena?
Well, it's difficult to have another opinion because it's so tempting what Galip says, I have to say. But I've learned to become a more understanding and more tolerant towards other people in the last years. And also maybe forgiving is a good word, maybe to accept that not everybody functions the same way as I do, and that things are still, still all right, and life is still perfect for each person as it is in its person's life. And this is maybe something when you're young and you're pushing for career, you don't tolerate that much because you have your own speed and you want the fastest and the best possible way. And in the end, you have to learn that working in a bigger team means really you have different characters and you have different also life goals in the minds of different people you're working with, and that you can make the best out of everybody. You just have to learn how the person functions and how the person sort of feels and thinks, and then adapt yourself towards this, at least as a head of a division, for example. And that's also, it's a learning curve that I took the last years.
Interesting. Galip, what did you tell yourself in difficult moments? What was the message, your mindset? What did you tell yourself inside, your inner dialogue?
Well, my inner dialogue, as I mentioned before, I've always been thankful to what I had. So even in your worst case scenarios, in your bad times, I still kept that path of being thankful to what was given to me by the universe, by the world, whatever you call it. And then I just hold on to that. And I know that every fall will definitely have a jump, except for a serious health problem. This is a different issue. But anything besides that, your career, the money you earn, whatever, these are all replaceable things. Just as you hold on to the way you perceive them. So for many of the cases, there is the truth that's happening, and the other part is the way you perceive it. You may perceive it as a very negative way or in a very positive way. And just like we mentioned previously, from everything you learn something. And basically, I always believe that if something is happening, it is happening for a reason. So maybe that bad thing we think is like crazy about our lives can be a very small bad thing, which prevents a huge bad thing coming towards you. So I always look at it with that attitude and always manage to survive in a very easy and calm way.
And
I wish I was that calm.
And Irena, what do you tell yourself in difficult moments?
Well, I'm a little bit less calm than Galip. I would say I'm more a tempered and passionate person. So I really have to calm myself down in difficult moments and really also think about or try to find out what is the good thing within all these bad things happening to me. Where's the way out? How can I gain the positive part from what is happening to me? And it's a thinking process. It's a process where you have to talk to the closest people around you, maybe a lot, to understand yourself. And it takes time. Sometimes, you have to think through it through several nights, and then all of a sudden, you know how to go on, and then you go on. It's just, I never give up. I think this is also something. I'm really very resistant. When I want something, I find a way to get it. And this is something that motivates me intrinsically. And I'm not waiting for things to happen. I'm always going and looking and searching for things. I learned that being proactive is quite an advantage in our whole life, I think.
Well, if something bad is happening, one of my thinking way is to stop for a few seconds, for a few hours, for a few days, take deep breaths, try to analyze what's happening instead of instantly shouting, yelling, and saying what's going on. Then I think you start becoming calmer and solve that problem easier than you thought it would be.
Good.
That's something I have to learn still.
Sometimes myself
it
as
comes
well.
by age. Every age has a different way of perceiving things. I mean, I wouldn't be talking like this when I was 30. So probably things are changing.
Yeah, but I'm not 30 anyway. I have to speed up learning this. Galip, if you would have a magic wand, what would you change in your life? I guess I know already the answer.
I already had that magic wand, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to change anything.
I knew that. I knew. And what about you, Irena?
That's a very difficult question, Andrea. It's not. I would say I still need this magic wand to be really fully fulfilled with everything. So I think to have a better balance between the private life and the work life, with respect, to balance, to have more time for creativity outside of the profession. That's something that would give me a lot of balance. And for this, I'm currently, as you know, in a sabbatical phase. I'm for 6 months in the US, so I'm learning new ways also of approaching things, and I think I have time to reflect, and I think that this is my magic wand in the end, this time here.
Well, I thought you asked this question to me like an instant change, but if you are talking about a continuous change, that's a different view, because like one of the most frequently asked questions that I get after my lectures or whatever is that if I'm like a 7/24 hours dentist, and there's no way I would be who I am if I were to be a 7/24 hours dentist. As we all three of us talking since the beginning is that it's all about the time that you take care of yourself, go out, enjoy your time with your family, friends outdoors, and like following the exhibitions, all this stuff that opens your eyes for creativity. And all of a sudden, from somewhere out of nowhere, brings a light to your mind, and you come up with some completely different things in dentistry. But the idea comes from outside of dentistry. Just like the simple technique that I came out years ago, like prepping through the veneers things. Just ring a bell when I saw a golf course nicely cut, even if it had up and downs. And then the next week I saw a tractor plowing the ground and seeing that they have all the same depth of cuts when they move, even if it's an uphill and downhill. And immediately it rang a bell, and I came out with that technique. And one of the very rare techniques that came into dentistry, let's say, that I don't think anybody said no or argued about. So it was a very solid thing, but my point is not the technique, it's how it came to me because of the time we created for ourselves.
Yeah. We wouldn't have your technique available if you weren't playing golf that day.
Well, someone would have come out with that maybe a couple of years later, but this is how it happens. I mean, everybody's contributing something into dentistry. Yeah. That was my part.
Yeah. What is your biggest regret, Galip, if you have one?
I really don't have big regrets, honestly. I always enjoyed what I'm doing. It was by pure chance, as I told in the very beginning. I became a dentist because my parents used to be dentists. I might not have liked it, and it would be a disaster. And I see many examples of that. But once I was in, then I started moving in a different way. My parents had an office with 1 box, so they gave me a second box in the office. And the only thing I requested from them when I was starting was that I wouldn't want to treat their patients. I just wanted to build up myself. And then I was seeing like 3 to 4 patients a week. And out of these 4, I was referring 3 of them to a surgeon, to an endodontist, which was not common in early 80s. So this way things start changing, and then everything I did, I enjoyed so much. The only regret I might have is that maybe I could have spent more time with my son those days, because you were in a big rush. But we're making it right now, spending so much time with him, sharing his projects, and we're back together again.
Great. And Irena, what is your biggest regret, if you have one?
I don't have any regrets, to be honest, because in any decision that I made, even if it was not the best one, I managed somehow to make the best out of it. So I have maybe one thing that I think is a little bit sad is that I don't have enough time to spend with my parents. you know, and I see them aging. And now that I meet them much less frequently than in the past, I see it much more obviously. And this is something that I truly miss. That's maybe the only regret that I have in my personal life is that I'm too far away from my closest ones.
Great.
But
Now I would like you to give and explain what do you see great in the other person. So Galip, what do you see as a great quality in Irena?
Don't say that I'm a woman.
She's a female. No, what I've seen Irena is that she's always been very open and honest. She has a self-discipline. I mean, discipline is taken something as a wrong terminology. Discipline always brings you the thoughts of punishment and all this stuff. In my opinion, discipline is like good time management. So when you see the hats in her head, you can see that she can manage the time beautifully. Otherwise, she wouldn't be there. What she's doing, the things, the latest book, incredible book that they came out. So all these things needs a discipline, a passion, and as I told you, if you're not open and honest, those things bounce back. And I've never seen anything bouncing back from Irena. And with all these qualities, we also all decided for her to become the next president of the European Academy. And I think this is one of the great choices that the Academy made.
I agree. And Irena, what do you see great in Galip?
Well, Galip, I think, is a real role model for everybody, also in my shoes, you know, who is still in the building up part of the professional life, because Galip is not only an excellent expert, an excellent practitioner, a very, I would say, creative and open-minded and forward-thinking personality, you know, that always is 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of the rest. But all of this, and you described yourself also like this, Galip, in a very calm, in a very humble, in a very down-to-earth way. And the way that, you know, Galip is presenting on stage, and the stage presence itself is really also something that I truly admire, because it's sort of attracting attention a lot. And people are really drawn into this presentation, which I think is a huge quality as a personality. It means that you have a lot of self-confidence. Okay, you're also very tall, so it's also, you know, you have a huge, I would say, impression when you come and you talk to somebody, but you also have a lot of competency, and then a very human way, a very warm heart, a very caring personality, which all in all make really a very, very special person out of Galip. So it's really an honor to be also a friend.
Thank you, Irena. Thank you so much.
Great. And I hope you all see how they became such professionals, because the soundness of the personality that you have is an example for me and for many, many others. And that's why we are here tonight. Now, before the end of this interesting interview, I would like to go for a 1-second answer. So I will go into different topics and I ask you to really quick answer with no explanations, such as, for example, dental profession, teamwork versus solo profession. Galip?
Teamwork.
Irena?
Teamwork.
Tech-wise, traditional agenda versus a smartphone.
Smartphone for me.
Smartphone.
Travel, nature versus city travels.
Nature.
City.
Travel by train, or you prefer airplanes?
Train.
Airplane. Oh, really? We would never travel together, Galip.
I've flown so much in my life.
You're sick of it.
I'm sick of it. So
Cars.
whenever I have the chance, it's train.
Yes. Cars. Sport versus elegant. I know yours, Galip.
Sports. Definitely.
Oh, really?
Oh,
really
yes, very much.
Really interesting. Watch. Apple Watch versus Rolex.
Patek Philippe.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'm somewhere in between. I like Rolex and Patek Philippe. Both come from Geneva, you know, so
it's
no
I like
digital.
them both.
Brain, are you analytical or artistic? Galip?
I think I'm artistic.
Yeah, me too, which is sometimes a problem. To be analytical is not so bad.
A book, you read it on Kindle or paper book?
I love paper book.
Me too. I love the smell of paper books.
Me too. House, modern versus classic?
Modern.
I like both,
Great.
actually.
And retirement, in office forever versus a retirement plan with the family?
What do you think? I already started retirement plans now, so
No
I
kidding.
don't want to die as a dentist. But, well, everything has a certain age that you come to a maximum.
It's too early for you to retire, Galip.
It wouldn't be like 100% retirement, but like lessening up this pace and enjoy and treat the patients maybe that I like. I don't know, but definitely towards retirement.
Good. And what about you, Irena?
I have no clue. I have not thought about retirement yet, I have to say.
It's too early for you.
Well, I don't know, but
We'll see.
yes.
We'll see in 50, 60 years
Both of you are so young to think about retirement. So better you keep up doing what you are. And then when you come to my
for
age,
me, it's easy because I cannot afford to retire. So I will have to work for many, many years to come.
Same here.
Yeah. Anyway, I would like to thank you very much. I love you both. I respect you. You taught me so much. And I look forward to see you in Bordeaux at the EAD meeting, to the IFED in Abu Dhabi, hopefully in October. And I would like to thank you for sharing your personal features and your time. Thank you very much. And I hope I will see you all next month for the next IFED Night Talk. Thank you, Galip. Thank you very much, Irena.
Thank you, Andrea. It was a pleasure. Bye, Galip. Bye, Andrea.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.